Hello everybody, this is Mr. Bowman. Today we're going to be looking at the ALEKS topic, rotational and point symmetries. So, we're going to look at two things here. Rotational symmetry, which is when you rotate things, right? And then point symmetry. If it has rotational symmetry, give the smallest angle of rotation needed for the figure to appear unmoved. Okay, so we'll go through and check each of these. So, does this have rotational symmetry? It means if this was like a knob, could I turn this shape and have it land and look exactly the same without turning it entirely over? And the answer is yes. Okay. For example, if I color code these a little bit, so I have a green dot up there, put a blue dot over here, and like a, I don't know. Let's maybe use shapes instead. So if I have an X over there, a circle over here, and a square up there. So if I look at it from this way, right now my square's up, but I could rotate this and put the arm with the circle on top, and it would still be the same shape if I didn't designate these different things. Okay, so the question is, how many ways can I rotate that? So if I'm using this as my key point, so the arm up, how many arms could point up? I have a square, a circle, and an X. So all of those could point up pretty easily. So there are 3. So to figure out my angle, the entire circle is 360 degrees. So I'll divide that by how many ways I can break this down. So I would get 120 degrees, which is your angle of rotation. Okay. Now point symmetry is more or less, it's kind of an odd note, but it's basically saying if I flip my page over, does it look exactly the same? Or which we sometimes call 180 degree symmetry. And the answer for this one is no. Because as I flipped it over, this looks like an upside down Y. If I flip the page over, it looks like a right side up Y. So they're not exactly the same. All right. Does this have rotational symmetry? It does. It's because I could take my square and pretend it's a block and turn it over, and it would still be a square, still be a square. So the question is, how many ways? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. So it's 360 divided by 4 to give me 90 degrees. Does this one have point symmetry? It actually does. So if I take this square and flip it over, it still looks exactly like a square, which is that point symmetry. I can flip it 180 degrees and it would still work.